What's up, everybody? You're very welcome to this week's Anfield Agenda One Football News crossover show. What I've done is I've opened up the One Football app, picked out 4 or 5 stories that I think will be of interest to you guys. I'll talk about them. If you guys want to have a look at the app yourself, you can download it entirely free. In fact, if you haven't downloaded it yet, what are you waiting for? It's the best football app on the market. There's not much you get these days for free that is this good. You've got so many features in the One Football app, ladies and gents. Of course, you've got your video content. Of course, you've got your fixtures, your statistics, but there's also my favourite, the augmented reality feature that allows you to project images onto the floor of your living room, onto your kitchen table, wherever it might be. Drag players around, touching them, get all their statistics, all their stats. I love it. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. And most importantly, they're also great contributors, great supporters, I should say, of fan content. Right, let's get to the first news story of the day. The one I wanted to talk about first was Jurgen Klopp speaking about the draw against Brighton and how he thinks that it felt like a defeat. And I can totally understand where he's coming from. Context is really important with regards to a result. If you're 2-0 down and you come back and draw, it's like a win. Everybody leaves the stadium absolutely bouncing. You go into the next game full of adrenaline, full of happiness. But if a situation arises like happened to us, where you go 2 goals up, you come out of the blocks 100 miles an hour, it looks like it's going to be an easy afternoon's work, and then we capitulate, we concede 2, and let's be honest about it, we were lucky, we were hanging on in there. So here's what the gaffer had to say. He said, the pressing goal for Saga was just unlucky. If you want to teach pressing, you would look at this situation, but this allowed for handball, I guess. Top moments in the first half, we showed we can hurt Brighton. Played some top passes through the centre. Really good football, but we were only 2-0. In the second half, we were not good enough. The body language, I don't like it at all. Very strong there from the gaffer to say he didn't like the body language. Not often he'll talk about that with his players. I was like, oh my God, really tough. Yes, it was clear before the game. The best way to defend Brighton is to have the ball yourself and play in the spaces where they're exposed, but we didn't do that, and that's the problem. If anything, I would say flip that. I think Brighton played in the spaces that we left. I think when our full-backs were getting forward, we gave away possession far too often, which allowed Brighton, with the pace that they have, 1, 2, 3, little triangle passes around the first press, bang, they're in behind. I think we got that warning right from the off today. I think it might have been Trossard who was clean through on goal in the opening minutes of the game. Maybe it was March. One of them was clean through and forced Alisson into getting a save. That should have given us a warning. It didn't. We paid for it. And look, respect to Brighton, good team, but the manager will look at this and go, that's an opportunity missed. Chelsea, yes, they got the win at home, but Manchester City lost at home to Crystal Palace by 2-0. We could have extended the gap from them even more. As it is, it's still rather compact there at the top of the table. Brighton, fair play to them. Graham Potter has been playing great football. I don't mean any disrespect in that sense, but that's the first story of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Now we move on to story number 2. So this story, ladies and gentlemen, I've gone back a few years here. This story, it's a new story, but it's in relation to Daniel Agger and how he's basically accused Brendan Rodgers of lying to him, really. Daniel Agger was speaking about the time where Barcelona were interested in him and were looking to bring him to the new camp. In this article, I don't want to give too much of it away, he goes into depth about speaking to Brendan Rodgers and asking him flat out, do you need me? If you need me, I will stay. And he said that not once, but twice or more, Brendan Rodgers gave him a resounding answer of, yes, I need you. We need you at Liverpool Football Club. I will use you. I will rely on you. And he didn't. And you know what? He's not the first player I've heard come out and say this about Brendan Rodgers. We know that there was issues with Brendan Rodgers and Raheem Sterling, but there are a few times I've seen Brendan Rodgers either throw players under a bus, or I've heard of players leaving Liverpool Football Club that then speak about their time working with Brendan Rodgers and how maybe he wasn't always a man of his word. I think that's fair to say. But look, either way, have a read of the article. Daniel Agger, obviously somebody who all of us Liverpool fans know would have bled for the football club, gave every ounce he had out there on the pitch. One of my favourite players to have ever represented the club. So if Daniel Agger feels a little bit annoyed about things, it's not really in his nature to come out and look for headlines. So I think there's probably some truth to this story, but have a read of it yourself. Let me know what you guys think, and of course, any comments you have on it, whack them in below. I always try and read and check them out, and yeah. Look, the next story, ladies and gentlemen, is fairly straightforward. It's just a reaction to the Carabao Cup draw. And if you haven't seen it yet, Liverpool have been drawn at home to play Leicester City. Just a bit of a heads up, by the way, and it doesn't say this in the article, but I just want to remind everybody that the League Cup this season is back to being a two-legged semi-final. So if Liverpool do get past Leicester City, great that we have a home draw, and look, we'll look at the draw more in a second. If we do, there will be, I think it's the 4th and the 5th, and I think the 13th and the 14th maybe, or the 12th and the 13th of January. So it is a two-legged semi-final. Important to keep that in mind, because last season, obviously, with the reduced season, it was one-legged. So Liverpool have been drawn at home to Leicester City in this. Brentford against Chelsea. Arsenal against Sunderland, and Tottenham against West Ham. Look, let's be frank about it. We all wanted the Sunderland draw. Arsenal got the Sunderland draw. They got a home draw as well. So you would think that Arsenal will find a way through to the semi-final. Not the best draw we could have had. But Leicester City, they need to focus on the Premier League right now, because they are, as I record this, in 10th place. Fair to say it isn't the start of the season that Brendan Rodgers and the faithful of the King Power will have wanted. So hopefully we can destabilise them that night. Hopefully Rodgers goes a little bit weaker than we would have liked, or than he would have liked, I should say, and we can get the job done. Because when you're in the quarter-final of any competition, you want to get through to the final, don't you? And look, again, how strong will we go? I don't know. Will we see the likes of Tyler Morton, Cade Gordon? I hope so. Maybe Musialowski. Who knows? But that is a tie that I'm looking forward to. I have to say, I really am. And Spurs, West Ham, another good tie. You would say it's Liverpool and Chelsea's to lose. That's the way I'm looking at the Carabao Cup now. If you disagree with me, I hear you. I understand you. I might not agree with you, but I think Liverpool and Chelsea are the favourites for this cup. Liverpool having the home draw is a good thing. Chelsea away at Brentford will be no straightforward tie. Let's see what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. The next story I wanted to have a chat around, ladies and gentlemen, is of course the Mohamed Salah contract saga, because it is becoming a saga at this point. What more does the player need to do to convince the board to give him the contract that we all want him to sign? Look, this story talks about Frank McAvenny, who speaks about Mohamed Salah's demands of 500 grand a week, which I don't think is the case. I think that he'll probably sign on for about 350, 380,000 quid a week. But basically the point that I'm speaking about here is, in the article, Frank goes on to say that, look, it's an insane amount of money, but Salah can get that. And he's right. Mohamed Salah could get this. If we're looking around the world right now, see players like Lewandowski, players like Haaland, players like Ronaldo at Manchester United, players at the top of their game, players scoring a load of goals, they're worth their weight in gold. Mohamed Salah not only does that, but does it on a very consistent basis, and does it in the biggest moments. That goal against Manchester City was followed up by another worldie the next week, followed up by a hat-trick at Old Trafford. The man is in the best form of his career right now, and I hope and I pray and I wish that FSG give him a new deal. But to go into the article a little bit more, he said if the club don't pay and Salah leaves, there will be carnage. And that's the underlying feeling that I'm getting from Liverpool fans as well. If FSG don't get this sorted out, if Mohamed Salah is sold, or at least isn't tied down to a new deal, I really do think that those words, it will be carnage, or there will be carnage, from Frank McAvenny, will come to fruition. Because everybody I've spoke to, whether it be on streams, whether it be in private conversations, that is number one priority for every Liverpool fan around the world right now. If FSG are watching, if they're listening to their fan base, get this contract sorted. We cannot lose Mohamed Salah. Not now, not in this form. So as Frank McAvenny said, if it doesn't get sorted, there will be carnage. So fingers crossed that the board get it done. That if Michael Edwards is to pull one last masterstroke before he potentially leaves when his contract runs out at the end of the season, it will be to convince Mohamed Salah to put pen to paper on the new contract that he thoroughly deserves. I want to say that again. He thoroughly deserves this contract, because he is by far and away our most consistent performer, and Mohamed Salah is a superstar. Best player in the world at the minute. I can't even envision a situation where we don't get him signed on a new deal. So again, let me know your talk, or your take on this, I should say, in the comment section below. Do you think it's right that the club break the wage structure? Because I think if you're going to break it for one man, it has to be an exceptional fella. And I don't think it'll destabilise the dressing room. I honestly feel those lads around know. They look around the dressing room, they're all on decent money. A lot of them have renewed their contracts, but they know what a special talent Mohamed Salah is. So look, let me know your thoughts on that. We move on now to the final story of the day. You might have said, maybe I left the best to last. Certainly the most exciting story to last. And this is Liverpool's apparent interest in Ajax attacking player ANTONY. I really like this lad. He's only in the door there this season. 1 year at the club, or his first year at the club. Came in from Brazil. If my memory's right, I think it might have been Sao Paulo. But either way, 21 years of age, and he looks like a legit player. He really does. Loads of people have been mentioning to me this season. I've watched as much of him as I can. But I was very, very happy to see this article suggesting that Liverpool are keeping tabs on the lad and might actually make a move for him. Whether that's January, whether that's in the summer, that remains to be seen. If Ajax are still in the Champions League, there's no way they're going to sell him in the January market. So maybe a summer transfer to look at. But he is certainly the type of footballer that I could see being an absolute fan favourite at Anfield. Lots to admire about him. He's in the right age bracket as well, 21 years of age. We do love a Brazilian at Anfield. We do have a nice contingent of Brazilians at Anfield, so he would certainly be made to feel right at home. But this is the type of news story I'm happy to see out there about Liverpool, because he is the type of player we should be looking at, and hopefully we bring a couple of bodies in sooner rather than later, because as I've said on numerous streams, a midfielder and attacker have to be the minimum priority for Liverpool right now. That brings to an end this week's Anfield Agenda One Football News Show, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to know your thoughts on any of the subject I spoke about tonight. Whack it in the comment section below. Don't forget to drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, don't forget to download the absolutely fantastic One Football app. The link is in the description. It'll take you directly to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Most importantly, take care of yourself. Thank you for supporting the channel. Lots of love. Talk to you guys soon.